Okay, so Mark here from Rock and Load this afternoon. I'm at the hallowed ground that is Ormo Park in Belfast for Belsonic 2024, and I'm glad to be joined by Alan Sims. Alan from Shine.net, etc. Belsonic, how are you today, sir?
Yeah, I'm really good.
Thankfully, the weather has played ball. We had a massive downpour a while ago, and I thought it's not a sign from the gods, is it, how Belsonic 2024 is going to go?
I think hopefully this spring we've had all the rain that's in the skies, so we won't get any more in June. That's my theory anyway.
Fingers crossed. Yeah. So look, Alan, we're always, our breath is always taken away when we come down here because the sheer scale of the operation that you guys have to put in place every year to run this for people in Northern Ireland. Tell us a little bit, when do you guys sort of start planning the logistics for this?
I mean, the planning for this will start before this is next year. Will start before this is even over. But the first thing is just sort of getting ideas together for sort of acts that we can all agree on are a good idea to play. Who's going to be out touring this year? Because a lot of acts don't tour every year, obviously. So that's the first thing. Then we'll always have a debrief to see what we can improve on, sort of towards the end of the summer, and then the planning really starts. I mean, people always ask me, "Oh, you must be busy with Belsonic," and there's stuff just happening all the time with it on sort of multiple levels. Anyway, so it's pretty much all year round job.
Yeah.
You know,
I was looking at the lineup. There's quite an eclectic lineup this year, and I'm probably saying that after lockdown, after COVID, with so many challenges that the industry had faced, that this is probably maybe the first opportunity that you guys have had to really express yourselves with a really diverse and eclectic lineup as you have.
I mean, the brief has always been, since we started doing these events, if you're going to be, Belfast is a small city, Northern Ireland's a small country with a small population, and whilst we do get a lot of people that come from out of state to go to these shows, I think if you're going to have a lot of these things do well, you have to be getting different groups of people to come. And also it's nice to be able to engage with different types of audiences in
genres.
The city as well, so that it makes for a real buzz for the city, hopefully, anyway, if we get it right. So that's always been the brief, to get different age groups, different musical tastes, from sort of pop music and electronic music right up to sort of heritage acts that have been around for a while. We always try and have a rock music element as well, although that's increasingly more difficult because there's less of those big acts of this scale touring. So that's always the sort of broad sort of format that we look to fill, and something with varying degrees of success.
Yeah, I say it must be challenging because, as you say yourself, part of it is down to timing, because are the artists on the road available because of the actual schedule? There's so many festivals on across the UK and Ireland. It's got to be hard to nail down the right type of artist for the demographic that you want.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're really, our main competition now is other cities in the UK and Europe. We're competing with them to get acts, because every city has maybe something like this now. Not every city, but a lot of them. And to try and get people to Belfast, maybe it's not necessarily would be on people's first priority list to come here. Particularly, there's a body of water in between, so that costs a lot of money for people to come. So it's it always presents a challenge to try and make the case for Belfast. And obviously, the more these shows happen and the more successful they are, and the more the local audiences really take these acts to their hearts, the easier that job becomes for us. But it's still challenging.
I'm sure. And out of the list of artists that are playing this year, who's on your own list to capture or see? That's the sort of thing. Probably Limp Bizkit, 'cause I always like the big rock shows, because I love the rock audiences. There's less stuff there for them to go to. Now, I want to see Tom Morello, obviously, because he's a great guitar player from Rage Against the Machine, and I think the rock audiences are always just really grateful to get to a show of this size in their backyard, just because it's so few and far between. Again, because there's less of those sort of acts certainly coming here anyway, so that always makes for something interesting. Just the sheer energy that these bands will produce, even like a couple of years ago when we had Iron Maiden, just the scale of the show and the stage production show and the sort of theatrics of it all was just stunning. And I think Limp Bizkit's just going to be pure energy, so that's great. Yeah, they have quite a reputation for the live performances. And out of curiosity, have you ever thought about or toyed with the idea of doing a rock festival here in Northern Ireland? It's an idea that keeps coming up, and it's like that's when I started going to gigs. My first ever gig was Motorhead, and all the sort of new wave of British heavy metal bands and stuff. That was my thing. So obviously it's very close to my heart. And there's a lot of the guys that sort of work on our team or feel the same way and are still big rock fans. So it's one of those
conversations that always comes up. Not something that we've brought to fruition yet, but definitely it's in the ideas box.
It's just there. But that's, if we can ever try and encourage it, we've got to have to make it happen someday, because it's one thing that Ireland is really lacking, isn't it? It's just that maybe a one-day festival or something.
I would agree with that. It seems to be the only real rock festivals that even in the UK are these absolutely, gargantuan.
I know a couple of years ago,
which are wonderful, by the way. They're great events.
There was almost Sundown down in down south there, but COVID came in and took the knees out of it before it actually kicked off. So if we need somebody to step up to the plate, it's you guys.
Well, maybe we'll do it. Hopefully we will. All right.
Well, look, thanks again, Alan, for your time. Absolute pleasure meeting you, sure, and best luck with the 2024.
Okay, thanks.
Thank
Cheers
you.
now.